Hey guys, Matthew, and welcome to another episode of the 1% of the Rate class. Today I actually want to talk about prophecies. Now, I've spoken about prophecies a few other times, especially in my other video series, which is my Casual Exile series. But today I want to focus on not so much for the entry-level prophecy farming, but I want to focus on basically the 1%ers. So how can you actually use prophecy farming to make an absolute killing? I'm talking easily a headhunter in a single day, especially in a league start scenario. With 3.14 coming right around the corner in a few weeks from now, this is definitely going to be a strategy for the people who are willing to basically do it, because it is a little bit tedious, to be fair. Now, I'm going to be giving you some tips in this video about how to maximize it, of course, and like other things like prophecy blocking and whatnot, but also telling you guys where the money is when it comes to farming prophecies. So if we're talking about farming prophecies, there's first off going to be master missions. Now, master missions have been devalued greatly, especially because of Echoes of the Atlas. So realistically, that's not going to be very useful for you. Crafting stuff is also not really going to be any sort of currency. Now, I've spoken about faded uniques, like I said, in my Casual Exile series, so you can check that out. Obviously, as you're spamming those silver coins, there's definitely going to be some currency to be made in some of these uniques. For example, if you got a Vision of Fire and Ice, you could totally change a Heat Shiver into Frostferno. You could even sometimes consider corrupting these faded uniques, because some of these corruptions would be worth a ton. So for example, if you got +1 Chain on a Hyri's Demise, or +1 Arrow, or +2 Cold or Fire or Lightning on a Frostferno, for example, these are all things that could be worth a decent amount. So while faded uniques are not really going to be the main focus here, there are going to be a collateral, something that you'll get along the way, and you'll definitely going to be wanting to take advantage of it. Tempests are actually pretty decent. Now, Tempests and Plagues, and the reason for that is because if you're prophecy farming, you can get known and have the regular clients who will know the fact that you're a prophecy farmer and who will know you as such, and who will basically know that you have prophecies in bulk available, things like Tempests and Plagues, like I said, Plague of Frogs, Plague of Rats, because these are used for min-maxing and juicing up your maps. And the only website that was available, at least that I know of, to buy prophecies in bulk was PoE app. Unfortunately, PoE app has closed down, so there is no way at the moment that I know of anyways to buy prophecies or to sell prophecies in bulk. So the only way to really do it is either to go on a Discord server, community, for example, the official trading Discord or TFT or whatever, but otherwise it's to sell to other players. So people, since there's no ease of getting these in bulk, are going to be willing to pay a significant amount of currency for them in bulk, because 30% rarity in quantity is actually a pretty decent amount. So that's definitely going to be one of the ways you'll be making currency, but this is not going to be super powerful in a league start scenario, because obviously people are going to be, not going to be super giga min-maxing and juicing at the very start of a league, but still something to pay attention to. Now, encounters can actually be pretty decent, again, especially in a league start scenario, things like Maligaro's Virtuosity, things like Tabula, things like, also there's Pledge of Hands somewhere in here. There are definitely some of these prophecies which are going to be pretty decent currency, and I would advise, if you do get the prophecy, don't sell it. Go ahead and do whatever the requirement is, and then sell the outcome. So in this case, it would be Pledge of Hands by going to the Grotto map and killing a rare tunneler. Now, if you don't know what that is, you can actually press the name of the monster, so you can see exactly what you're looking to kill for these prophecies in order to make it easier for you. These are, again, going to be a little bit of currency, but it's really not going to be your main income. Rewards for currency are pretty garbage. We don't care about any of those. These are obviously don't offer anything. We don't care about any of those. The other ones are also not super great, but most of these can be sold in bulk, or at least some of them. So, for example, Bountiful Traps can be sold in bulk. Kalandra's Craft can be sold in bulk. I guess Kalandra's Craft is not so good anymore, as the Echoes of the Atlas has added nodes to the tree for things like veiled items. But Kalandra's Craft is very, very good for farming veiled items. There's definitely some of them that are pretty decent, but what I really want to focus on and where the money really is going to be prophecy chains. Now, it's not every single prophecy chain which is good. There's actually going to be 6 of them, if I remember correctly, or 5 of them. And I want to talk about basically how to min-max those, because those are going to be the best one. So I'm pretty sure people are going to be pretty surprised by the fact that prophecy change are actually the way to make good money through prophecy farming, but that actually is the case. The Deadly Rivalry prophecy change actually gives you Kintsugi, which is super sought after in league start scenarios. Tons of builds want this because it makes their build literally playable. It gives them so much defense, especially paired with that one node that Wind Dancer is what it's called on the tree. So very sought after, Deadly Rivalry. So what you would do is you would spam those silver coins, work your way up from Deadly Rivalry 1 to 5, and then do the prophecy, the 5th one, sell the Kintsugi, and work your way up. And keep going, rinse and repeat. But it actually can be done even better, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. The Pharaoh Lord 5 is also just as good, but this one is really good because of the crafting stat, just as the Plague Maw, also for the crafting stat, and Unbearable Whispers and Unbreathing Queen are all about crafting. So they will give you suffixes cannot be changed, prefixes cannot be changed, cannot roll attack, and cannot roll caster modifiers, which are all modifiers that are absolutely required by crafters. So the way that you would make money with these 4 is actually not to complete the prophecy, it's to work your way up to the 5th one, but then actually you will want to seal it and sell it to crafters. Now though, there's actually a way to min-max how much money you're making. Now you can totally go and do it and spam silver coins until you get prophecy the 1st one, and then you work your way up to the chain to the 5th one. But what you can do in order to really min-max how much currency you're making is actually to buy basically a higher one and then to work your way up in a shorter route. So if you do it that way, it's going to require some investment. But even if it requires investment initially, you're going to be able to pump a lot more of these a lot quicker. So, for example, if you look at the Unbreathing Queen, instead of starting at Unbreathing Queen 1 and working your way up to 5, you could buy the Unbreathing Queen 4 and then spam silver coins after doing the requirement. Spam silver coins until you get the Unbreathing Queen 5 and then sell that. So if we look at that, for example, the Unbreathing Queen 4 is 40 chaos currently. Now, of course, this is end game prices or end of league prices. You could also check and pay attention to the league start prices, anywhere between 30 and looks like 25 and 40 chaos or whatever for the Unbreathing Queen 4. But if you look at the Unbreathing Queen 5, right now it's 130 chaos, and the league start scenario is about 80 chaos. So you're doubling your money essentially by buying the 4th one, working your way up by spamming silver coins to the 5th one, and then selling the 5th one. So if you did that instead, you could basically be pumping way more of these Unbreathing Queen 5 into the economy compared to if you were to work your way up from 1 to 5. I'm not sure if these are weighted, and what I mean by that is I'm not sure if getting Unbreathing Queen 1 is the same rarity of getting Unbreathing Queen 5, but even if it was, or even if it wasn't, I should say, it's still going to be worth it just because of the amount of time and also the amount of spamming silver coins that you're going to get. So if you want to really min-max, how you would go about farming prophecies is essentially there's one thing you need to remember, and that's prophecy blocking. So I found this Reddit post here, the result of 150,000 prophecies, which is absolutely insane. Huge shout out to the guy who actually went through that. But if you look at the comment section, there's actually this guy who posted basically, who analyzed the data. Now, I was going to do that, but unfortunately, the post is no longer available, which is very unfortunate. But some guy analyzed the data and basically came out with what he thinks are the most common prophecies based on the numbers from 150,000, which 150,000 is a pretty decent amount of sample size, so definitely something to pay attention to. So you're going to want to block as many of these horrible prophecies that have a lot of weighting to them. So for example, the Lost Map says 3,000, these guys 2,000, 1,500, whatever, and this is a year ago, which means this should be pretty accurate because I don't think they've changed prophecies in a very long time. So if we look at Navali here and we seek a prophecy, you'll see that we can actually have 7 total prophecies. So if we were to block 6 of them, that would only leave 1 opened, and that would greatly increase our odds of getting prophecies that we care for, such as, for example, the Pharaoh Lord, as we can see right here. So what you'll want to do basically is block 6 prophecies, keep only 1 opened, And then once you've done that, what you're going to do is you're going to buy, if you really want to min-max how much currency you're making with this, you're going to buy the level 4 of Deadly Rivalry, Feral Lord, Plague Maw, Unbearable, and Unbreathing Queen. So you buy the 4th level of them, complete the requirements in order to be available to get the 5th level, which is where you're going to start making money. And then once you've got every single one of the ones that are sought after and the 6 blocks, then you start spamming silver coins. The reason for that is because if you have all of them completed the 4th level and also the requirement for to be able to unlock the 5th one, is that you're basically putting every single odds in your favor to get the 5th level, but not only for one specific prophecy, but for the entirety of all the ones that have prophecy chains, which are all the ones that are very, very good, especially in league start scenarios where crafters need those crafts in order to, well, craft. So if you do that, you're going to maximize how many of these 5th level you can actually pump out per hour, which is going to be very, very good. Now what you'll do is you'll basically, for example, if I was to do that, you know, I block 6 prophecies, I get the Feral Lord, the Plague Maw, etc., all level 4 done. I spam silver coins, I get the Feral Lord 5 to show up. I basically am going to seal it, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to buy another Feral Lord 4, and then rinse and repeat over and over and over again. But it doesn't stop there. There's one last trick I want to talk about other than just prophecy blocking and buying the 4th level of each of the really good prophecies. And that's a trick that I actually got from
catch my breath.
Chew Dog in his video about prophecy farming, which must have been a year or 2 ago. And that is basically how to maximize how many prophecies you can get. And the way you'll do that is that you'll actually put the game in windowed mode, and you're also going to put it in the smallest resolution possible. Now, why would you ever do that? Well, the reason for that is that if you open your inventory and then you speak to Navali here, you will see that the amount of mouse movement required in order to seek, seal, and put them in my inventory is much, much smaller than if I was playing full screen. So this is going to be doing 2 things. First off, it's going to make you faster because obviously there's less mouse movement required. But second off, it's going to be very, very important for your wrist health, because this can be extremely tedious if you're doing thousands and thousands of silver coins. But if your client is this small, you don't even really need to pay attention to. And another little trick is that when you actually seal a prophecy, you don't actually have to press this yes button and do this mouse movement. It's completely unnecessary. You can press enter on your keyboard and that is going to seal it. So all you need to do is basically press enter, put your cursor there, seek again, and then, you know, seal, enter, put it in your inventory, seal, enter, put it in your inventory, because remember, you're going to have 6 of them which are going to be blocked and only 1 of them which you're going to care about. So I would highly recommend, if you're trying to really min-max, is to block these 6 and have the good one be in this corner, because this is the corner that's going to require the least amount of mouse movements, and this is also the corner that is the closest to the seek button, so it's very, very minimal mouse movements. And that is basically going to conclude my video on how the 1% are using prophecy farming to really make an absolute crazy amount of currency. Like, it's actually pretty insane how much money you can make with this, especially paired with things like the faded uniques and all that, which you're all going to get along the way as you're spamming these coins, because of course the prophecy chains are some of the least weighted prophecies, so you're going to get all the other juice as well, you know, bulk prophecies for things like Tempest and Plagues as well, which are all very, very good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, but as always, before I go, I want to say a huge thank you to my supporters. So Jordan, Lost with the Map, Cremis, So Nice, Flame Scorpion, Nathaniel, Richard, JW Players, Scott, Young B, Tuck Tuck, Michael, Ashley, Pavloms, Cool, Keebs, Marcus, Justin, Matt, Kevin, Powell, Mercury, Ethan, Citri, Jared, Axel, and Acid, as well as a huge thank you to Phenom and Trevor. If your name isn't on there, don't worry, I'm going to be updating this very, very shortly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.